Welcome back to the Industry Brief. This is a bonus episode because they just did the Game Awards, and we want to talk about it. We want to cover it. So you watched it, Spencer. I watched it. What you got for me?
It was kind of fun. The typical. I was thinking, I was like, man, a lot of these people up on stage, aren't they like actors? Like, why does it feel so cringe? But I was thinking, I was like, could I do better than that? And I was like, probably not, considering this is what they do for a living, and it still is like forced laughs. But beyond that, I mean, that's like a
It's a show.
It's a
They're,
show.
they're putting
Yeah,
on entertainment. It's a show. I mean, obviously gamers are going to be like, what
right.
the,
It's like
but
the Mortal Kombat cast. Was it Mortal Kombat? No, it was Street Fighter. Street Fighter
yeah,
cast.
Street Fighter.
And he's like, it's Ryu, or it's Ryu, or I don't know. It's all extremely rehearsed, it's extremely scripted. But
Which for some reason, gamers, I don't know why. We
do
just,
we tolerate it?
inauthenticity, I think we do not like.
Right. I did
I'm
think the
not sure.
host. I did think the host was great. There are a few people that are really good on camera, like or dislike Todd Howard. Like, the guy is comfortable on stage,
Todd
right?
Howard.
Like, Todd Howard was great. Like, I thought, like, Jeff Keithley, like, just as the MC and the director, the host, really good. Yeah, some really good stuff. So there was some interesting announcements. Um,
There's a
they
lot of announcements.
a lot of announcements. It's kind of interesting. I don't think they did this in years past, but it's almost like it's a new E3. Rest in peace E3. But like, these companies are now, their announcements are really scattered across a bunch of different showcases. You have some
And
at Gamescom, some at the Game Awards, or
I was just gonna say, I think that was my biggest takeaway here, and that's what I want to talk about today. There's a few things we want to talk about, and that's one of them. Is just, it feels like it's not Game Awards; it is E3 with awards.
yeah,
It feels like it's an excuse for advertisement, and the reason why they do that is
they got
they've
the eyeballs.
realized, dude, they've got eyeballs, and I could not believe it when I actually saw the numbers, but it was 154 million people watched last year. And I think the year before that, it was around 120. And so it increased by, almost 30 million. And so assumptively, 2025 would have increased in some way. So they most likely had 160 million plus people
Yeah.
watching.
Dang,
And
man.
that
What was the game of the year last year?
Game of the year last year.
No, that was Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate was, I thought that was 2023.
No, that was like Astrobot or something.
Oh yeah, Astro.
And
That's right,
everyone's
2020.
like,
So I think Baldur's Gate, because it came out earlier in the year. But yeah, Baldur's Gate was the winner, and then they predicted. He said, I forgot the head
the
of Larian
quote.
Studios' name.
Yeah.
The quote though was basically, he was predicting what the next game winner was going to be. How it's going to be this creative, great piece, and it ends up being Expedition 33, which was just
Right. It was the Expedition 33 Awards,
it 100%. I mean, I'm all for it, but
Right, yeah. Yeah, no, I got a lot of thoughts on that. Before we get into the actual awards there, I wanted to talk a little bit about the announcements that they had. So, a few that I was excited for. I'm interested to see what you were excited for. Control Resonant. Like,
yeah,
I'm
that
I'm
looks
I'm a big
that
fan
looks
of
cool.
what's oh gosh, I'm spacing on the name of that studio. Um, but I've liked a lot of their games. Played Alan Wake back in the day. Their
Yeah,
game, like Control,
they're consistent. They make consistently good games. Like,
consistent, dude. Yep. Like Quantum Break. It was
oh
all
yeah,
There's all good stuff, and they just, like, their story and their world that they build. I'm just a super sucker for. Like, it's just like this supernatural, like, mixed up with government bureaucracy. Like, that's a
they bring
fun for
some
me.
depth. They
Yeah,
bring, I think, an intellectual depth to
yeah,
their worlds, and so I like that. They're more sophisticated. I think they target gamers, deeper gamers, less of the casual
hmm,
almost.
yeah,
That's what it feels like. So no,
yeah.
they do a good job. Divinity looked nuts.
I
I don't know.
don't even know what I felt when I was watching that trailer.
I felt creeped out.
I was at work and I was doing something, had my headset on, and I left my phone on like a table, and I walked back and it was playing the Divinity trailer. I could listen to it, and I walked back and some dude's like, "So what you watching?" And I was like, "Oh, you know, it's the Game Awards," and I was
Dude, it's
like,
so creepy. It
"It's so
is so
creepy."
creepy. I mean,
Oh man, it's like
they got the kid cheering for the guy that's burning, and I'm like,
they got the gross eating scene, just like the Flash. It's like supplanted like Denethor eating the cherry
I
tomato.
know, I
Like
know.
it's I mean, it was intriguing. I like couldn't look away. It was like watching a car wreck, you
But
know.
it's memorable. So if you were to say
Super
what was the
memorable,
most
yeah.
memorable,
Oh,
Divinity.
yeah,
For
definitely
me,
Denny.
that one, due to its creepiness, due to its
It was
like
horrific,
it's
yeah.
horrific, and I almost hate it when they use children.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's one of those things.
It's like as a
It's always
dad, it's like you're like it's
mhm.
like extra evil. If it was all
It is
adults
extra
doing
evil,
that, you're like, eh. But then when you're like, wait a minute, there's a kid involved here, like
and they're cheering. Like it made it feel. It was
sinister.
so visceral and yeah,
Yeah.
sinister. It was just
Yeah.
I just stuck. But so that game really stuck. That game stuck, and then obviously Star Wars. I forgot it was
Oh,
Star Wars
Fate of the Old Republic?
Fate of the. I was like the Old Republic.
Yeah.
That I'm a big fan of, and I think actually, if you were to say what game is going to be if, and this goes to like that Golden Triangle, we were talking about, it's like that grabbed me, and I think is probably grabbed the most people.
Yeah. Well, I
And
mean, people have been waiting for KOTOR
I know,
successor for what, 20 years? 25
yeah,
years? Like,
yeah, for 20 years. I think it was early 2000s, but yeah, that to me, I don't know why they've taken so long, and again, it's Star Wars. Star Wars has such a rocky, and they've done all this new Star Wars, just kind of going back to some old Star Wars IP. Smart.
mhm. I actually think the Star Wars games have been
They've been
much
good.
better that like in terms of like the quality of the media, far surpassing the movies and the rockiness of the TV shows and stuff.
Mm.
Like Fallen Order, fantastic. Loved both of those games. I'm actually a huge Battlefield or Battlefront fan. Like
Yeah, Star Wars Battlefront 2.
yeah,
Once they
like
made the changes,
oh
it's a
dude,
great
oh,
game, by the way.
it's a goaded game, dude. Like you watch like there's some
It's
dude
a
on
great game.
YouTube that's just like a god tier Han Solo, and
I haven't seen it.
he takes on like Darth Maul and Vader, like in like a 1v2, and you're just like, dude, it's him. Like that's the scoundrel, man. Like that's the Han Solo. It's a cinematic game. Love that game. So like I think that the Star Wars IP is actually thriving in the video game industry. It's like for if you're a Star Wars fan,
That's where you want to
come
go.
play the games because it actually seems like the place where they respect the IP.
Yeah.
And they
But I
actually
think I wonder why that is. Why do you think that is? Because the nerds that actually love Star Wars or have
probably
control.
less corporate. Like I mean the movies are so important that you're gonna it's essentially you're gonna have like it's gonna be made by committee
Too many
at a
cooks in the
certain
kitchen.
yeah it might be and then maybe that's not like a fair assessment because you know one of the big complaints of the sequels was that they gave Rian Johnson too
Oh,
much control, right? But that
dude, they,
was
they
I
just didn't have a structure. That to me
yeah.
is who thought that was a good idea of having
Mhm,
three different directors. By the
mhm,
way, like I still think that's a crazy concept. And
yeah
if you're gonna have three different directors, have a story
yeah
already written.
dude. I'll never forgive Kathleen Kennedy for screwing the pooch that bad. I mean, it's like, isn't this your job? Like, why didn't you just like,
It is the laziest thing I've like. She did. I just she said, "Let me get different
put a
directors,
chick in it,
not
and
have
make
a."
it gay?
But it's just like, and whatever you want to talk about when it comes to, I always try to avoid any kind of
This is a South
social
Park
commentary.
quote. Like,
But that's no, it's
right.
perfect. I mean, it's perfect example. But it's just more of it's wild to me. Just
Yeah,
the like
incompetence.
there's the social nature of putting in crap that does not need to be put in,
Huh?
but then there's the absolute incompetence of doing
Yeah,
your job. Like
seriously.
I'm just fascinated. Like, what did you do? There was zero story.
Mm-hmm.
There is, I mean, no cohesiveness. Like, what you like try to like think like what
Yeah.
was her job?
Yeah, I honestly can't piece it together. I mean, you would think that it would be like, hey, make a cohesive like if you know the beginning from the end, like
Yep.
Lucas did, like for all of his faults, especially when it comes to like his directing in the prequels,
Yeah, there's
the
some weird things that, but like,
in the dialogue, he wasn't a great like good at dialogue. I mean,
I don't
like
think he's the best writer, but he had a plot.
he was good. Yeah, he nailed the plot. And actually, like when you go back and you kind of like the prequels boiled down are like the reason they hold up still is that the plot's actually pretty good.
Plot's great. He's a
Like
great plot writer,
he's a
and
great
I've
plot
said
writer.
this. Brandon Sanderson is one of the best plot writers.
Uh
Sometimes, like I was talking about Wheel of Time last night with somebody who hadn't read it, and I was like, "Look, I think Robert Jordan is a prettier writer.
oh yeah,
Like
excellent
the
prose.
writing,
It's good
yes,
prose.
great prose, and just some of the character development, and
I think the
sometimes
dialogue's better.
the dialogue is better, and sometimes that's why it also drags on. You're like, just move the plot,
Yeah, it's
but
like
like,
it's like pick three. Like he lost
good
on
hell.
the plot slider there, but
Yeah, the plot slider went,
it's true.
went
It's
out the
probably
door,
why
especially in
Brandon
those
was
middle.
really good at finishing that series because you needed to finish it,
Well,
right?
he took all the threads and he brought them
Tied them
together.
together. Yeah.
And so, anyways, but like that to me, the Star Wars universe. I know we're tangent here, but it has at least it's had a really good plot,
Mm-hmm.
right? Sometimes some of the things in it, I hate how many Death Stars that were involved. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, dude, another Death Star. Like, but I actually thought the seventh movie, so the sequels, or what would
Mm-hmm.
you call them? The
Yeah.
it's got the prequels,
The sequels.
the sequels, right? Because
Yeah.
the
Yeah. The
three,
Force Awakened, right? That's the one you're talking about.
yeah, the first one, I actually thought it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. Could
Mhm.
it have been better? But it was really safe. I think
It was
is a good way
super
to put
safe.
it.
I mean, it was just a New Hope rehashed.
That's all it was. But it's still that was okay because it's like, oh, it's new Star Wars. It feels good. It's
Mhm.
like it was very safe, and
And I think that's what you're saying right there. Is that like you're kind of hitting the nail on the head? Is that the movies they struggled with, they played it so safe, and then they said, okay, well then we'll take chances, and then that we got backlash from that, and so now then we had to try to like Frankenstein these pieces back together for the final movie, The Rise of Skywalker, right? Whereas
one
like
hundred
in the
percent
games, the reason that this like Fallen Order story, they obviously knew what that
they
plot
knew.
was
Yes,
through one and two. They had that written beforehand, so it's cohesive, right?
it's a
And
video game. It has to be plot driven. By the way, video
yes,
games can't. That's why Expedition 33, by the way, is so unique. Is because it wasn't just a plot driven story,
hmm
unlike most video games.
hmm yeah, and so that's I think that's a great point. Is that Star Wars, the world of Star Wars, people love the stories in Star Wars. Like there's a
Hmm.
reason that there were so many EU novels, right? Like there's
Totally.
so many, and like people just love this world, and there's so many interesting stories to tell in there. So that's why I think reviving the old Republic era and the KOTOR,
Which is
um,
such a fun era, by the
such a
way.
fun era, and it was peak Star Wars storytelling. That's what people
Hmm.
loved about it, right? I actually really like Fallen Order's gameplay. It's kind of like a Souls light. It
Yeah,
definitely wasn't as hard, but I actually really
it's the
enjoyed.
casual Souls game in a Star Wars IP,
Yep.
which is a phenomenal combo.
And the story was still pretty good. I liked the story. It wasn't as strong, but like when you're talking like pinnacle Star Wars stories, you're thinking
KOTOR.
KOTOR, right?
Hmm.
So I did see today on X though that the game the game's just in early development.
Yeah, it's going to be
So
years.
it's going to be like five
What's up with that? What's
five
up with
years.
people announcing? I mean, Elder Scrolls 6, when was that announced? And then I think they showed it. They showed more of it, right?
No. I think we saw that teaser in like
When did that?
2018, and that was it or something.
I'm trying to remember when I saw that teaser
Yeah.
originally.
When did the teaser come out? Yeah,
And I cannot,
all I
but
know
it's
is that
been
it's been
years,
years, dude.
and they still are showing nothing. I mean, just nothing, and
Yeah,
it's
well,
wild.
that's interesting. So there was a lot of good trailers, right?
There's a lot of
Um,
good trailers.
there was also some absences, right? So there's people that were really disappointed that Respawn showcases a new hero shooter
It's not Titanfall 3.
and it's not type like just that instead they're making a Apex 2 essentially, like, or an Apex cousin is what it
Yeah,
seems like. It seems free to play. I think that's what it was. And I don't think it's even in the Titanfall universe. And Titanfall 3 continues to languish in either development hell or just on a shelf somewhere.
but Vince Zampella is gone, right? He was the brainchild, right? Like
Where did he go?
he went to Battlefield 6.
Oh, oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah, your video. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And so Vince is, I think
yeah.
what's crazy is
True.
this is why I actually am enamored with Vince. He creates the Modern Warfare, Call of Duty Modern Warfares, right? Like pinnacle for me. He recreates the shooter genre with that, and then goes and creates Titanfall 2. I mean, like recreates again, like just changes, and yet it baffles me. I mean, that's why they brought him on for Battlefield. Like, and I don't think he made as I think Battlefield 6 is great, but like he wasn't as it's not as groundbreaking as Titanfall 2 or the original, Modern Warfare games, obviously.
Yeah,
But
yeah, for the
it,
time.
it was still it's a fantastic game. But like you ask me about, where's the next Titanfall 3?
It's like don't do it without Vince.
I don't know. I don't know if it's don't do it without Vince. I don't know if
It's so
it was so
Titanfall's.
innovative. I feel like the
Yeah,
bar is so high, and I also think it wasn't that successful. And again, the reason why I don't think it was as successful as it should have been, I think the gameplay was so innovative, but the IP was not there.
yeah, and it got pinched. The release
It got
date,
pinched.
the release date did not favor Titanfall.
No, and I don't think they should have planned. Like I think, like I said, the marketing, the whole marketing push, the IP around it all, did not help it. And it should have been if it had. By the way, if it had like, imagine if it had other IP that had that kind of gameplay. Imagine if it had Star
Yeah,
Wars, like, or I don't know,
yeah,
but
it
like
just would have been God tier.
it'd been god tier, but
Yeah.
it's not. It has this staying power because the gameplay is so good. And again, it's
What's
that
interesting though is that the Titanfall 2 established the IP enough that Apex was born out of that.
but that's becomes different IP. That's why it was. Why didn't they use Titanfall 2 IP?
Well, it
It
is
wasn't that
Titan
strong.
2. It is Titanfall IP.
It's
A-
not the same though. Like
100%, dude. Like it is.
it's not. It's not the same world.
Oh, it is the same world, same guns.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No,
This man, an imposter. We have an
I
imposter
never
at our
played.
biz.
I didn't play Apex Legends. I don't like.
Dude, the Mozambique triple take, like,
They are connected. Wow.
yeah, no, it's in the world. In fact, like one of the
I've never played Apex. So
no
all
one of
right,
one of the
I'll throw that out
characters
there. But,
is the daughter of one of the bosses in Titanfall 2. So like
I just don't
Titanfall
like
2 like
battle
established the
royales.
IP. Yeah, no, yeah. And that's what pissed people off is that it established a great IP. It like that game was
So
so
they did
good.
establish good IP then. So
Yeah.
like you can make that argument. So maybe my argument's invalid, but I just felt like Titanfall 2 did not have the clout.
And that's what I think people are upset about is that like, hey, after all that, like you're pivoting to a different IP.
That's a good point. Yeah,
And
why?
so yeah. Well, I mean, we'll hold out. Us Titanfall 3 and Half-Life 3 people, we can take our schizo pills and
I think
um,
Half-Life 3 will come.
yeah.
I actually do
We
think
can
it's going
play
to
it in
come
the nursing
because
home.
of Valve. No, but because of Valve, I really think they're going to launch it with this console.
You really think so?
Mhm.
That'd be a one heck of a killer app, dude.
I just think so. I mean, like, I made an argument about this a year and a half or 2 years ago. I made a video why Valve doesn't make games anymore. And when they do, it's almost always to announce some other thing. Like when it
Yeah.
came to their VR, it was Half-Life Alyx.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to, their new systems, I mean, like CS, Like everything is just either rehash or update of current games, or they're releasing something purely to then use as a marketing tool for their new
Yeah.
hardware, new software,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah. Valve is like it's like the dictatorial country version of a company where they have, they can have such long economic timelines,
Yep.
right? It's like,
Deadlock is the unique child in that.
yeah, right.
Is like
They can,
they released a game that had no alternative function.
yeah,
It's just a
right.
game for a game's sake.
Yeah. But anyways,
Anyways, so going back to the Game Awards, I do think on the Expedition 33, why did they win everything? I
so
mean, Spence,
yeah, so like it with
they won everything, by the way, for people
yeah,
that don't know. They won.
absolutely, they won everything. So they they won everything, well, because it is good. Their total list was quite extensive. I believe so. It won Game of the Year, right?
Mm-hmm.
It won Best Soundtrack, which like hands like this is probably one of the most iconic soundtracks since Halo. My opinion. It's just like
I agree.
you will like when you hear the Halo song, you're walking through, it's 2 a.m. You're walking through the parking garage and you hear some dude off in the distance start singing the Halo theme. Everybody knows what that is, right?
Mm.
People are going to recognize the haunting, French, soundtrack of Expedition 33 for decades and decades. Like it
I
is
like
just,
somebody called it's this era's Final Fantasy VII.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. This,
Final Fantasy VII had so much impact on our generation, even just a little bit older generation than us. Like
what
the
about
story,
the
the
story for
music,
sure?
the world, the
Mm-hmm.
gameplay. Like that was Final Fantasy VII. It was so impactful, and that's why I think Expedition 33 is. It is the story, the world, the music, the gameplay.
Did Final Fantasy
This,
VII have staying impact with their soundtrack? I don't know if
yeah.
they did. I didn't play
Ah,
that game, so it's like,
I don't know if it's gonna. I actually think Expedition 33's staying impact or like impact music is above Final
you think
Fantasy
so?
VII,
Yeah,
but I still think they have great music.
yeah. I mean, it
I think
went.
you'd recognize it. I'd love to pull it up,
There
but
was some controversy,
copyrighted.
like best RPG. Some people were arguing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Yeah, and I
Um,
also saw best indie game. You know,
yes,
that's
best indie game, best debut indie game. Which
and that's
absolutely right.
definitely the question is indie. I think there's a lot of arguments around is this an indie game?
Yes, could it not be? What would you
It
classify as an indie game?
I would have classified it as an indie game.
What's your criteria?
It's independent of a large studio. It's independent of outward. Like they got investors, they got a publisher that was like I get it, and somebody might use a much more strong term. They're independent of anybody, right? They made the game
Is
without any outside.
No Man's Sky an indie game?
I would have said so.
Like when it
But did they have
released?
outside? I don't know enough. What's their outside investment look like prior to releasing?
I think they got a lot of money. I can't.
It's not a question of money.
So
It's a question of
that is my
who.
question. So like,
Who's
let's
the
say,
influence? I would say indie is based off of the influence on.
okay, so
So like,
you're saying an indie studio could go raise $200 million, spend $200 million on a game, but still be an indie game. Isn't that pushing it into the realm of AAA?
yes, and I do think there's an added layer of how much money. I think once you pass 50 to 100 million, that changes. I think there is, but I get that, and I get that people don't like that definition, by the way, because it's like
Take like
if you have a
Splitgate 2 raised
yeah,
a shiz ton of money.
there is $100 million,
Does that count as an indie game? I wouldn't say so.
but that's because the influence. Their influence is the reason why that game didn't work, by the way. But I wouldn't call it an indie. Stands for independent. You're independent from these parties.
Yes, technically that's what it stands for. I don't know if that's what people think about in the lexicon. I think that the meaning has shifted a little bit to where there is a difference in scope of an indie game versus a AAA. Okay.
That's going to have to continue to change because of the tools. And so, but would you have called Halo 1 an indie game?
No, because it was published by Microsoft.
Would you have called it an indie game prior to them being published by Microsoft, prior to them being acquired by
Yeah,
Microsoft.
if it was Bungie,
It was Bungie. They were about 40 guys.
yeah,
I think it
probably,
was 41 developers. And
probably.
so immediately, that's still, that team didn't change all that much
I
once it
don't
got
even
acquired by
know if
Microsoft.
indie game is in the lexicon in 2001.
No, but I think it's
Like,
pertinent.
would I like retroactively apply that label
Would you have retroactively applied it to that one? And so to
if
me,
they self-published? Yeah,
if
or
they
if, or
self-published,
if they self-published, or if they published with a like a Kepler, like
and so that in my example, that's why I think because the team, there's a couple pieces of criteria here. I feel like, are they independent from these big players or from people that are determining how the game
okay,
should fit or function, right? Like, and my mind thinks that way because I've just been around VCs and investors and this world. So to me, the way I view indie is, are you able to make the game you want to make independent of outside influence?
yeah,
So
okay,
like that is a critical piece, but I do think there's some added criteria that I do add almost just naturally. I go, dude, yeah, did you have over $100 million? You have like, if you start crossing these thresholds, you have so much money, so, all so many
hmm
employees, that just doesn't feel independent.
independent
That
anymore. Yeah, and like this the scale of the team. So like, yeah, I think that matters too, right? Like in kind of a unique way, or a kind of a unique, uh, I guess, situation. Sandfall brought the entire team to the Game Awards, right? Whereas
yeah.
like, so they're up there, they like everybody gets up wearing their red berets, you know, and there's
And you can point to people, you can point to individuals and say, this guy wrote the music.
okay, yeah,
Yes, he
yeah,
had some people, but
that's
does that
true.
make sense? Like,
It does sound a lot more like Halo One, right? Where you're like, these two guys did the entire AI, like
you're like,
all,
Marty did the music,
yeah,
and he had I forgot his co-composer,
Michael Salvatore,
Micah Salvatore. Thank you. And so it's like, you can point.
yeah, yeah,
I
sure,
can't point to people with the Diablo soundtrack, or you know what I mean. I
yeah,
can't point, and so I think all those layers. So I do think it deserved that award. I
yeah,
understand why people
right.
disagree.
Interesting in the debut indie game, Megabonk was initially going to be in there, but he withdrew because he
It wasn't his
published.
initial.
Yeah, he published under a different name beforehand. Still, crazy achievement, cool dude. Okay, so let me list off these awards, okay, and we can talk about them a little bit more. Okay, Game of the Year, Best RPG,
Yep.
Best Narrative, Best Art Direction, Best Score and Music, Best Game Direction, Best Debut Indie Game, Best Independent Game, and Best Performance for Jennifer English from Mael.
Yeah.
Thoughts on any of those?
No, that's the thing. I'm gonna be biased here. I'm a fanboy. I
Mm,
think I think they deserved everything coming towards them and more. So
yeah.
I'm happy that they won, because I just felt like the game was
hmm
so like that golden triangle, right? It was so unique in the sense of it generated an entirely new IP. This is non-existent. I've
It's
never seen
true.
anything like it.
It's birthed out
And
of nothing,
it won me over in the first few minutes. Like, that is, I think, again, so you talk about best narrative,
hands down. Yeah.
hands down. Like, I was in tears, right? Like, I couldn't figure out what the ending was going to be. Music, obviously, the music, everything about the music just hit me. It was so good. It was
hmm
so impactful. The timing. I mean, I think there's like 8 hours worth of plus of soundtrack for this game.
Yeah. It was very, very impressive. I think that what they were able to do, and the cohesiveness of a game that they were able to make on a $10 million budget, um, and I think that they, I was having a conversation during Halo Night the other night with some of our guys, right? And one of them, he says, "Am I just getting old?" Or because I shared, I kind of, I kind of was trolling a little bit, and I shared GameStop's Game of the Year award, and one of the guys watched all 6 minutes of it to get to the end, where it's like, for the 18th year in a row, Halo 3. Uh,
Yes.
so, but anyways, like one of them was like, "Am I just getting old, or like are the games of yesteryear just like way better? Like, are we just like are we just in this declining era of quality? And another one of the guys said, he's like, dude, I used to think that way. Expedition 33 rekindled my faith
Mm.
in the gaming industry. This is a powerful statement. Like, it can definitely feel like as things have gotten larger, more money associated with it, they lose the soul of the tiny team
Hmm.
that's agile enough, and just the raw talent that can
The
produce
passion,
the
even just
passion. Yeah,
the passion of individuality. By the way,
yeah.
it does not come out in a 1,000-person team, but it
It
comes
can't.
out in this
It can't.
30-person team.
Yep. Right, exactly. I meing, it's like the incredible nature of those gigantic games, say like Grand Theft Auto, or uh, you know,
I mean, Red Dead 2, lots of
Red,
emotion, big team.
Red Dead Two. That's true, but Red Dead Two might be a bit of an exception. But say take like a Call of Duty, or like a Battlefield 6 or something like that. Like, what's impressive is the scale of management.
Yeah,
Like,
it's the scope of the game. It's the scale of people that
yeah,
are all putting in
like
their
that's an
work.
impressive feat, to be able to manage thousands of people to create a cohesive product. It's essentially the major motion picture version of a game, right? Like,
Hmm.
when the reason those credits scroll for 15 minutes, like, and there are thousands of people that are just lumped into a simple contractor name, right?
Yeah.
And so the management, the human management, is an incredible achievement. To organize this many people to create a single product is impressive. And but that doesn't always create the best product, right? And so
No.
Clair Obscur, like Sandfall, because of their flexibility, they were able to create something that was truly generational, like that really has set, it's a one of those games that changed the world, and it's going to be there. It's that tag, 2024 Expedition 33, change how people viewed games.
and and I think the reason why we didn't even outline. Again, I will continue to. I'll call it the triangle now. I actually think that it's the triangle of video game success. The world, the story, the music, everything just was so immersive, and then the gameplay was so fun. Like that's the other tier here that I just and then on top of that. So again, what's the three? It's like gameplay,
All right.
world, and so our IP, right? IP and world, I think are interchangeable.
Mhm.
Gameplay and then model. Normally, they weren't innovative in their model, but they were almost innovative because no microtransactions. It was just $40,
I think that was the innovation.
and that was the innovation. That's what I'm saying. It was almost innovative in its non-innovativeness, right?
Yeah.
Like because it was just there was no. I don't open up
It,
the menu and see all this crap battle pass. It was just
mhm. You
it was
pay.
like the old Zelda. I don't know why it always Zelda Ocarina of Time has this magical place where you'd open up, hit start, new game, go.
There's a simplicity to it, you know and I think you're right. Like, the innovation, I would even say, in the model was charging $40 in the era of 60, $70, 80, even pushing $80 games sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
um that was big, especially on, like, they were taking a chance, right? Furthermore, um they did their model was innovative in the sense of, they put it on Game Pass.
That's true.
Game Pass is
Distribution.
an innovative model. And I was aware of Expedition 33 because I saw it at the Xbox showcase, and
Yeah.
they advertised it as being a game one on Game Pass. And so I was thinking, hey, like, that was intriguing to me. I was so curious about that I actually kind of bookmarked when it came out, and I do that for very few games. I'm like, this comes out like day one, it's like, I
It
will look.
looked so
It
interesting.
looked
Yeah.
interesting, and because there was, if I had to buy it, I would not have checked it out on
Zero
game.
friction. Zero
Zero friction,
friction.
man. So, and then furthermore, it's like, then it gained initial traction, and then the barrier to entry for people who weren't on Game Pass was so low because it was only $40.
Well, and the people on Game Pass told their buddies, right?
Yep,
Like we were prime examples. We have told so many of our friends about
yep,
Expedition 33
yep,
and they've
yep,
gone and tried it.
yep. And so it's like,
So
and then the people that are like anti Game Pass, they can just buy it for $40 on Steam. It's great.
you're good to go.
So I do have some interesting thoughts about this, because everyone's saying, like, oh, okay, Like this is the death knell, like the reckoning for the AAA industry, because they produced and swept 9 awards. This is the most awards won since The Last of Us 2.
And everyone's poking fun at Ubisoft, right? Also, which is hilarious, but that's its own thing. Keep going.
Yeah, yeah, right. For letting this slip through their fingers. Um, So they, so 9 awards, the most since then. Like this is like one of the biggest games, most successful games from award and like a financial standpoint ever. $10 million budget, right? So
Yeah.
people are super impressed with what they were able to create with $10 million. And I've seen a lot of people saying, "All right, this is a new norm, right? This is something you've argued, right? You've argued like, okay, like let's take more chances on $10 million games,
Mm-hmm.
right? And do more of them. Instead of $100 million game, we'll do 10 $10 million games, and likely, we'll get one or two Expedition 33s out of there. Diversify our
Or
risk, right?
yeah, 100%.
Okay. Now, I will say this is not the death knell of 100 to maybe it's death knell of like $1 billion games. I don't know if I would say that,
I
but
actually think the inverse, but I'll be curious to hear what you say.
I this game, I think people what this demonstrated is that open world is not the end all be all. People
Mm-hmm.
don't need open worlds for every single experience. They don't need a world where they can go and they can exist and it can take 150 hours to experiencing everything in this game. Expedition 33 is essentially a very pretty hallway, right?
Yeah.
It's a
Oh, yeah.
it's a corridor that you walk down, right? It has
That makes you feel like you can open some doors in that corridor, right? You can
yeah,
go left or right
yeah, you go a couple
throughout that hallway.
hmm the skybox makes it the world feel larger than it is,
Totally.
right? Um, and the boundaries feel like pretty natural, but you're also like aware that you are in a corridor. Your goal is to get from A to B, right? And that from a design standpoint, so much easier, and it lets the artists, especially when there's limited resources, like with Sandfall, um, it lets them focus on the details in that corridor,
Yeah.
right? And the thing is that nobody's going to argue that Red Dead Redemption is not an incredible game because of its scope and how well executed that scope was, right? The most anticipated game in the world is Grand Theft Auto 6 because the scope is going to be unmatched. And the thing is
It's
that
unreal,
yeah, is that those high scope games are they're still going to demand hundreds of millions of dollars. They're not
if not
going any.
billions.
They're not going anywhere. I think what this game is showing is that you can make really high quality, lower scope, not open world games that can be successful as the open world games.
And I think part of my argument, and this is why. So I agree. I think you end up saying what I do agree with. More of my argument is you're going to see a lot less expensive games. You're going to see one or two crazy expensive games. So Call of Duty is going to continue to be a
Pricey.
huge budget game. Grand Theft Auto, Halo, these big IPs, they're going to throw money. Okay, and these are going to be big scoped games. But you're going to have a lot of these middle ground. They're not going to be big scoped. I think they're gonna start cutting back, and that's what we're seeing. I hate to say it, but like they're firing people, they're laying off people, they're decreasing the man hours in scope, and it's right. Like, why lay off all these people? Because they believe they can still make games, and so there's negatives to this. But like, I personally think what they should have done is built more teams, and that's actually was it Supercell? I was looking at their
Super
structure.
super giant.
No, Supercell.
What do they make?
Uh, so they made like Clash of Clans. They made a lot of
Oh yeah,
those
yeah,
games,
okay.
but I'm pretty sure they're the ones that Supercell has a bunch of small teams, if I remember right. So yeah, it's famous for its small independent teams called cells, which operate like mini startups. So it's autonomous to build and manage games. So they evolved. They have some larger teams. I'm just quickly looking at it, but I remember seeing Supercell was really unique in this. Is they just have a bunch of small teams that
Mm-hmm.
work on projects, and they've actually been really successful with that. And that's kind of the argument I've made is, yeah, if you just made Like, what if you just had teams that were independent from one another, that had creative independence, and could just make games, right? Like in their own passion and scope or whatever it is. And they did this in the early years at Google, by the way. This is why Google had so many incredible projects and products come out in those late
Hmm.
2000s, early 2010s. They had like 20% of your time could be dedicated to whatever project you wanted, and you could like
Yeah.
grab a few small people. And I mean, that's where Gmail came out of. That's where I think Google Maps, that's where like all these came from small teams, by the way, not big teams, not big projects, small teams, because they create the premise. And so then maybe you can take some funding. It's the same thing. Sandfall, small team, but like innovative gameplay, innovative concept, and they brought on people to then realize it, the
Yeah.
music, the storytelling. So that I just think you're going to have these huge scope games, Overwatch 2, you're going to have these huge scope games. Those are going to be the big blockbusters. Same thing with Hollywood. But Hollywood doesn't have what the video game industry has, which is like this indie game space that actually can find legitimate big success. I think maybe you
Yeah.
can now because of Netflix. There's some arguments there.
Hmm.
But anyway, so I just think we're going to have that middle ground, I think, is going away.
So you think it's going to
I,
be like a bifurcation,
mhm.
and you're just going to have like a bimodal distribution where you've got all of the gigantic games on the left side,
Let's call them
the budgets.
quadruple A. I'm going to
Quadruple A,
say
sure.
quadruple A and double A in indie. I think triple A is going away.
Hmm. So that's an interesting case, and I was actually just after I spoke about just barely about the open world, I was like, wait a minute, but Kingdom Come 2, Deliverance 2 was also open world and only had a budget of 40 million. So there is a demonstration that you can achieve really good things with sub 100 million.
100%.
And part of the reason Expedition's costs were so low was because of the scope of the game, because what they have to spend time designing were, these like the game design was simplified, right? But Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, obviously that team did a really good job at creating an open world for only 4x what cost Sandfall, right?
Yes. Yes. But again, I would say it's all about what you choose to focus on. And so to me, and also the tools, right? The tools, AI, however you want to say it, but yes, AI voice, you can now just get all sorts of voices. You can do, and
Mm,
there's arguments for and against, by the way.
yeah.
So, and in many ways, I think AI tools that remove the human is is wrong, but AI tools used to
To
remove
augment
redundancy,
to
yeah, to
augment the human.
augment is
Yeah.
good,
I,
right?
I
And so
agree. Yeah, because if you could take, if you say the AI tools, that like how much of that, massive budget for a quadruple game to build out scale is like laborious, kind of tedious, just kind of work that, um, like it really doesn't matter which artist does it because it doesn't really like it's not that apparent in the art direction. It's just kind of like the under the
whatever that
hood,
is,
yeah, the
yeah,
under the hood blocking or whatever the the art description is. Maybe that's like just the initial building out of the rough scope of the map, right? Like you could have AI tools that could save you hundreds of hours in these things that could then enable teams to create larger experiences on smaller budgets.
yeah, and more, yeah, just more. Again, the mistake I see with the layoffs and all this stuff, it's like, why not just make more games that are smaller scale and more passionate, right? Why not? Like, there's the arguments that I just disagree with some of the choices being made. Now, if you're making it, you're having to do layoffs because of money, whatever it is, sure. But most of these companies are more profitable than ever, right? Microsoft's more
Yeah.
profitable than ever. Like that. That's not a. So my point is, yes, you could use these tools to augment these employees, these individuals, and make incredible games like Expedition 33. Allow some are going to fail, by the way, right? Some are going to fail. There's luck involved. That Expedition 33 just, but I really do think it's like if you can really bring in some unique IP, and it always has to be elevated. If you're going to do gameplay, you got to elevate the gameplay better than what already exists within that genre. That's the mistake. It's like either you got to elevate it, or your IP better be freaking amazing, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I still think Expedition 33 would have been a good game if it had done the Final Fantasy route of just like, the simple turn based.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Yeah.
what do you think? I still think it would have been a good game. It wouldn't have been what it is.
It would have been a good game. Like, I mean, like if you're just saying take out the active piece of the combat, leave
Yeah,
everything else the same, um,
still would have been a good
it
game.
still would have been a good game for sure. Like the story and everything, I think that it would have lost a lot of the appeal. Um,
100%.
like it would have alienated some people, and then I don't think it would have been as much of a cultural zeitgeist as it was, because you have to hit a critical mass of people consuming the story in order for it to be um because like the bottom line is that when somebody, when I consumed that story, I was because I liked the gameplay as well. Like I was interested about the story because that's where it starts. But then
Yep.
the gameplay stuck
That
me
drags
around.
you in. That
Yeah,
draws you in.
the gameplay kept me around, and then it's this gameplay and story were trading off as you go throughout the game, and I enjoyed both of those pieces. If I didn't enjoy the gameplay as much, if it was just like like I get a little bored a little sometimes, who knows if I would have like continued in that low part where story wasn't at the forefront. Then I'm not going on YouTube, I'm not looking up stuff about the story, I'm not joining Reddit discussions. And you multiply that by millions of people.
It's compounds.
Yeah,
It
it
compounds.
compounds.
It's
Yeah,
not just like 1x, 2x multiples, right?
yeah,
Like that is my argument strongly though, is you could have great and to these people, if you are though, like they would have made their money back even if they had okay gameplay. I
yeah.
still think
I think
they
so.
wouldn't have become the
Mhm.
success they are. But I think that all my argument is though is if you had $10 million in a game that was Expedition 33 and not as good of gameplay, it still would have made its money back plus more.
So interesting point about your triangle here. So Expedition 33 was born like if you were a game developer or somebody who's going to create a game, you start at one of those corners
I would
in terms of like
say,
what you want.
and you do, and the model one is a unique one, but like I can always point to League of Legends. They started with a model first.
They didn't start with the gameplay.
Well, I guess they started the gameplay. They said Dota. We just want to make a game that's like Dota All Stars from the custom games in Warcraft 3. So they did start a gameplay, but what how they got investment, how they actually got their studio off the ground was their model.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But I guess what I'm saying is that like when you sit down and it's like the first germination of an idea in your head, um, it's going to exist in. I think mobile games actually might some of them might start in the model.
They might start in the
They
model
might
for
start
sure.
in the model, right? But most of them, some of them will start in the IP, where it's like I have an interesting idea for a story or a world, and I want to create a game about this, right? But Guillermo and or the Samfall guys, um, they started off with the gameplay.
And I think most should.
Yeah, most should, and because then if you get that gameplay right, like that is these. I don't know how equally weighted the sides of the triangle are, and it might change over time, right? It's
I
like
think it's a
I
question of longevity, right?
yeah,
Like I think the IP, the story, right? This corner, right? The IP and the story, that's what gets people aware of it. But get people to care and stay and buy, I think it's the gameplay. The
mhm.
gameplay. I mean, that's the reason why you're playing. It's a game that you play,
Yeah. See, I would
and
almost
so
argue the opposite though. It's like good gameplay will get people into it, but then IP is what gives it legs.
the reason why I disagree with that is, again, I'll use Titanfall too. I'll use all sorts of games. It's there's games that are incredible gameplay, but if they just aren't interesting to look at, if they don't pull me in to try, it doesn't matter. And I actually use my own game as an example. Fallen Worlds
Hmm.
gameplay is wickedly fun, but it's so uninteresting to look at.
Yeah. Well,
And
I'm not saying you don't need that. I guess what I'm saying is that like if it's that like if you have see imagine you have like I'm imagining this like a graph. Okay, so you've got like a timeline right here, right on bottom. Okay, this
yeah,
is like release date, and then like 10-year lifetime, right?
sure.
Or even 20 years, right? as you move along that timeline, you're gonna have a dot that drifts between the corners, right? In terms of like what's the weight, right? So it's
Yeah,
like if you can imagine it, like the triangle is now like a piece of paper, you know, like it's going to rotate, and that ball is going to roll,
based off of
yeah, based
it.
off of that surface, right? And that's like what people care about the most at that point in time, right? And what I'm saying is that like I think gameplay is what people really care about initially on the release of the game. Is it fun to play? Because that's an immediate response. IP, as time goes on, I've played other games that are fun, but IP persists in my head as like a story because it's the emotions I felt during that time. And so the longevity of a game, I think that tilts towards the IP corner.
Which
That
is
would be my
fascinating.
argument.
And that's it's a question of brand, like Halo. So let's use Halo Infinite as an example. So why did you play Halo Infinite in the first place?
Brand.
Brand. So what drew you in?
So, dude, I've loved every Halo game. I mean,
Brand.
but to be fair, I love the gameplay of every Halo game, but like, I'm a fan of Halo.
But let's use other people. How many people jumped on to play Halo Infinite when it came out?
Everybody,
Millions, dude.
yeah,
Everyone. How many
that
people
was,
stayed?
yeah, that's true. They didn't say.
They didn't
They didn't
stay.
say.
So did they stay because of IP?
No, they left because of gameplay.
That's because of gameplay. So IP is what draws people in.
Yeah,
IP, story, brand. I mean, that's marketing
maybe not
101. Like
gameplay. I don't know the content, but it's yeah, the game of what you can do. Sure.
the experience,
Yeah, the
gameplay
experience.
experience. I would
Yeah,
label that together.
yeah,
The
sure.
IP, the world,
Hmm.
how it's perceived. Like that's the things that you're not like. That is Expedition 33. You see that like that's brand. What
Hmm.
you see on my on my wall. Brand is the story. It's and I get that there's some crossover here, right? Like you say, you experience the story. That's kind of the experience of the gameplay. But like the world, that's why I like calling it the world. The world of Expedition 33, it didn't draw people in. It's new, right? Hollow Knight was new, so they couldn't lean on that. But it was unique enough that people are like, ooh, like it actually did grab, right? And
It was
so
intriguing.
it
Yeah.
was intriguing. And so it's like I said, it's not like it
That
is kind
depends.
of.
That depends on the genre too, right?
I
Like
think
a
it totally
shooter,
depends.
a shooter may have an interesting IP, but I'm going to play it first based on off of how I think the gameplay will be.
Totally.
An
And the more
RPG will likely be based off of the story more.
and it's there's a lot of relevance here, right? Like the more if you're top down like action RPGs just aren't that interesting to look at because they're more strategic, they're more complex. It's
Yeah.
hard to really pull in people emotionally with that. Versus what was that one game where it's like it's a shooter and it looks so realistic
Oh
and
yeah, it's like body cam or something.
the body cam, the gameplay was so intriguing. Like you see, like there's such a scale here. Like what's marketable, the gameplay itself on body cam was marketable. The gameplay on Diablo 4 is not marketable, which is why they used all cinematics.
That's a great point actually, because like I will say roguelites in general, whenever they like come up on a trailer, I'm always like, looks kind of boring. But what's interesting is like I know it's likely not because I've played like Metrovanias and other
Super fun.
roguelites and they get really fun really fast, right? But like you said, when I watch a trailer, I'm like, meh.
Yeah, because the gameplay is not marketable. And
Yeah.
so it there's so much nuance here, obviously. Anytime you try to lump something into like simple points,
Mm-hmm.
you can break those points. But with the nuance, you kind of go, to me, the IP, when I say the world, all that stuff, like was Hollow Knight, you're like, yes, it has staying power in a sense, and like Halo will always have staying power because of its IP. But like, why does a specific game have staying power?
Mm, yeah,
It's gameplay.
it's true. It's true. That's true. And IP are like the roots, like they will outlive the individual season of the
Mm-hmm.
game, right?
Yep.
It's like the roots of the tree can last through multiple seasons, whereas like, branches of that tree, specific games, they can just rot and fall off, right? But if the roots are strong, you can regrow a new thing out of it. Like Star Wars, great example.
Great example.
Bad games litter, bad movies, some good movies. But
IP
people
stays.
keep coming back to the IP because the roots are strong, right? They're willing to
Yep.
test it out, right? And they're like, the odds of getting a good fruit from that tree are pretty good. So speaking of that, you've got this triangle idea. I like it. What do you think about the game reveals and what you can predict would be
Oh, sure.
successful? Okay, do you want me to list off some, or you got some already?
No, no, go for it. I've watched most of them, so I think we can fire
Okay,
away.
let's try something. Let's try something easy. So, Resident Evil Requiem.
Like that's one automatically people are interested. It's a pre-existing IP that has like, but there's been some bad games, some good games. If they there's now a trust issue, and so you immediately go. A lot of people are going to be interested if they can show unique gameplay that because most of it was cinematic, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so if they can show gameplay that is unique, different, and really captivates their audience, it'll be very successful, right? So
Okay.
that's going to be that marketing now is going to be dependent on its gameplay, but people automatically know it, will trust it. So I have it. If you were to say like Quadrant, it's got strong IP, right? Strong world, strong brand. So automatically people are interested. If it can nail gameplay, it'll be a successful game.
Okay. So, what percentage would you give it likely to be successful in terms of like
Um,
financially successful and just overall considered a
I think
success?
also the model, like what's the model? Is it going to be free to play? There's all sorts of areas there, but like likely
Yeah.
of success, I would say 75% likely to be
Okay.
successful.
Single player game. Okay,
Single player game.
let's try something else. We'll do another kind of known IP, Tomb Raider: Legacy of Atlantis. This is the remake of the OG Tomb Raider.
I think that has a lot of potential of success. Is a lot of intrigue. They're bringing it back from like an old game, so you got some nostalgia. Again, super strong IP, right? Super
Hmm.
strong world. If the gameplay is, you know, just it takes it to a new level, that's going to be a successful game. Like automatically, people were interested. People, it's memorable, right?
Okay.
So depending on gameplay, but like if they nail gameplay, that's the beauty about some of these. When you have strong IP, if you then introduce strong gameplay, it was high likelihood of being successful.
Okay. Four loop.
This
This
is
is
which one?
this that four loop is that four-person roguelike co-op shooter with J.J. Abrams.
Yeah,
J.J. Abrams studio. So Bad Robot Games.
yeah, I saw that one.
There's one where they like got reprinted, like after they die, failing forward.
This is
See,
an example where the IP does not, whether you like the look of it or not, and I just repulled it up, it just is not. So, like, what I'm going to share my
it's an
screen.
unknown IP.
It's an unknown IP. So, its gameplay has to be above and beyond good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, like, so I'm showing it right here. So, you look at this, the sci fi is too generic.
Yeah, yeah,
it's it doesn't tell me anything unique. It's not a unique world. Immediately I go World War Z or not World War Z, War of the Worlds, right? Like
yeah.
the
Kind
Tom
of.
Cruise movie.
Yeah.
Like there's no it in its own right is not pulling me in.
What about the tagline?
And so fail to save the world.
Fail. Period.
To say like you have to fail to save the world.
Uh-huh.
Um Again, it's cool. I actually think it's but I think it's all dependent. Their gameplay has to be above and beyond good for
Do
it
you
to be
think that?
successful.
So, what do you think? Do you think they'll nail it, or no?
No.
You don't think so?
I
Okay.
think I
So you're
think
gonna give
it's
this
going to
one what,
be,
a 40, 30%
and it
chance
depends
of
on how we
six?
define success. Is success meaning that it's going to be, make back its money? Does success mean it's going to be a hit?
Let's say that a success is, let's according to like Steam reviews, say generally positive.
Okay, then I think I bad robot games has not had a bad career of making. They just haven't made games that are just out of this world. Um,
What else have they even made?
I'm trying to think of what are some of their other bad robot games. I'm like, I recognize the brand, but
Well, but they make movies too,
is
right?
that what it is? I
Yeah,
was
it's
like, I can't think of
Bad
another game.
Robot. Yeah, it's J.J. Abrams like studio.
The problem is I think they're believing that the IP that they can lean on, and this is the mistake, they're leaning on the idea of J.J. Abrams being the IP, the trusted IP.
Mm,
Gamers just don't care
like the
about that.
the sci-fi.
I use that argument with going indie. I thought my YouTube channel would help me get some awareness for my game. It doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
There's two separate. I think it could bring some organic marketing, but I don't. It's not a pre-existing IP. I think it's a mistake that people make. So if the gameplay isn't that innovative, I think it'll fail. So I think
Okay.
it could be an average game.
Okay. So
It,
you're gonna give it like what percentage of success would you like
so
it?
in the way that you're defining success, which means positive reviews, I think it could get positive reviews.
Specifically on Steam, just because it's like IGN gives a 7 to everything, including Game of the Year and
I think IGN would
Concord.
give it probably a 7. And I
Yeah,
think it's going to
yeah, but
be
that's what I'm saying. Is that IGN gives everything a 7. So
I
I'm
don't think it's
saying,
going to be memorable
do
is
you
my
think
point.
people will like it
I,
enough to give it a generally positive review on Steam?
I think some gamers will like it. I don't think it'll be a popular game.
Okay, all right, okay, all right. Let's move on to, let's say, Warlock.
Let me
Warlock.
look
The
that up.
Warlock was the Wizards of the Coast studio.
Oh, that's right.
It's like a D&D. It's my first question when I thought this. I was like, well, isn't that what Baldur's Gate is? Baldur's.
If you want a super.
Yeah, the Warlock one. Let's see. Because I was looking at this one. Um, yeah, I don't remember exactly.
Somebody said, I can't wait to short rest.
Can't wait
After
to what?
Can't waste a short rest. A short rest every end of combat. It's just.
That's hilarious. Dude, so many ads.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, you got Dungeons and Dragons, so that's a strong IP that
Mhm.
is closer to gamers than, let's use the example of J.J. Abrams and his bad
Yeah.
robot. I think that's less connected. Um, I think it has a stronger IP because of that. The problem with all these trailers, I didn't love the character designs and stuff like that. To me, felt standard.
Yeah. It's true.
It wasn't different. It looks, and I hate to say it because it's beautiful. It's a beautiful looking. I remember, I need to re-pull it up, like beautiful cinematic,
Mm-hmm.
but it just doesn't tell me anything, and it's not new, it's not unique, and I think that's. I always love the Brandon Sanderson quote from is it Words of Radiance? He says, like, what do humans crave?
Novelty.
Novelty.
Yeah. Okay.
And
In that same vein, like, I
it's
agree
not
with you.
novel.
It's not novel. It's not novel. You might be able to ride the IP a little bit. Um, I don't know if it's going to do anything that Baldur's Gate didn't. Right?
I don't know if it's going to do anything Baldur's Gate didn't, and it almost feels safer than Baldur's Gate.
Yeah. We'll see. So, what do you think about High Guard? So, this is the one that's from Respawn, or at least the creators of Apex and Titanfall. So this is like this medieval
Oh,
hero shooter. It'll be
the
like
hero shooter, man.
it's a it's a PvP raid shooter.
I don't think it's going to do well. The design of it looks so uninteresting, and I say that because it's just not innovative. It's not new. It feels like, what was that game that was the Overwatch clone? What was that Overwatch
Oh,
clone game?
the Concord?
No. There's Concord, but Concord as well. No, Paladins.
Yeah.
It looks like Paladins. Like, it just, and Paladins to me, was the budget Overwatch. It's just
No, but Overwatch is first person.
uninspiring.
Was Paladins first person?
Yeah, Paladins was very much like
First person shooter though?
Overwatch. It was a hero shooter.
Yeah, but was it first person?
I think so. Yeah, it was a first person shooter.
Hmm.
It literally was a clone of Overwatch.
I mean, it was like just watching the trailer. I mean, it does look kind of interesting. It's like you're, pulling the sword out of the stone, but also shooting a rocket launcher.
I'm not saying it's, but like,
But like,
you're
And
saying the gameplay looks interesting, but the world itself is not interesting.
yeah, it's true. It's like, well, and establishing a new IP is just, especially in this like arena, is just like it's hard. And
But because they went safe though, that's the problem is, and I get it. They're trying to be using that triangle, right? They're being intermediate, meaning like it's not a weak IP, but maybe it is because it's just this just feels so. It feels like
yeah,
modern, like it's
yeah,
that whole. It's the mixture of it's for everyone, so it's for no one,
yeah. And also, it's like I don't think that it's coming out soon, January 26th. So
which
I
is
don't.
smart, by the way. By the way, to
Yeah,
actually like announce it and then actually release it soon.
yeah. And I actually think that they're going to start doing that a lot more. I think they've seen success from shadow dropping things at like these type of awards. I mean, for example, Expedition 33,
Yeah,
shadow drop their free DLC. So you like kind of capitalize on hype when people have
yeah.
the eyeballs there already. So, but yeah, it's like, I know I'm looking at it and it's like, it might be fun. I don't know if I would like play it over like the finals. If I was going to play something like a first person kind of PvP raid type of thing, it's like I would probably play the finals more.
The
Um,
finals is fun again, but it was unique when it came out, and it actually, weirdly enough, the IP kind of sucks, but it's also great.
yeah,
It, but I think because it tailors to, it was so unique in its gameplay, but it's not that memorable of an IP. I would call it like intermediate,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's
So that's what I'm
but the
saying. It's like
gameplay was
the
strong.
gameplay was real strong. So it's like insane, like high guard. Like I just don't see myself um sticking with it. Like if I'm want to scratch that itch, like I guess uh I would probably play Marvel Rivals, even though it's like third person. Like it's functionally the same. Um,
100%.
yeah, and it's got a stronger IP. Like I booted up Marvel Rivals the other day after like 4 months because I was like, I wonder how Daredevil plays. You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
right?
The strong IP, and they had great gameplay, right? Like
Mm.
that's again, it's but their gameplay was different than Overwatch, where they were more accessible.
So yeah, I think in terms of successful games that won an award that's not Expedition 33, Arc Raiders won Best Multiplayer Game.
Great game, and that's because yeah, dude, it was super unique.
It is unique. It's like it's interesting how I feel like they actually tapped into something in the extraction shooter that um, most people haven't.
I mean, operators.
Uh, and I almost feel like Arc Raiders kind of hit on like what the Helldivers 2 thing did, where it looks really cinematic. Like the stuff that people do, like some people have posted clips. I'm like, I haven't played that game, but I'm like, that looks pretty badass, like
Dude, hundred
they're
percent.
like bleeding out and they manage to get to the extraction point, and just some funny stuff goes down, or they jump on the back of the arc and they like throw some mines on it, and it very kind of Helldivers-esque. um
But so different and unique. Again, it's this unique experience. It almost felt like, I don't want to say Lethal Company because it's not, but
so,
it's it's got some of that quirky vibe that I like about Lethal Company. Like I said, a lot of people won't like that comparison, but it has that quirky vibe, and then it has that cinematic nature of Helldivers 2. I don't
mhm.
know. I think they just kind of brought this. Is the IP that's unique? No, but I think like Helldivers 2,
Oh, I
it
think,
brought this unique world.
yeah.
Like I don't know if I looking at it, but the world itself was really tantalizing.
And maybe
Um,
with like a good kind of metric is uh for the strength of a video game IP is how much do people want to see it adapted into film or TV.
yeah, and sometimes it's like what's
It,
hard to know is Halo has a singular character. Hollow Knight has a singular character. sometimes worlds are harder to adapt. Battlefield has less of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So adaptation, Expedition
Yeah,
33, there's characters though that you just feel
that's true.
intrinsically connected. And so
That's true.
sometimes
Yeah,
that's the hard part about IP is like
it's not the
is
best
IP
metric.
like IP is strong due to a variety of different reasons, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Battlefield
true.
is strong not because of a character and because I'd want to watch a movie about it, but because
But they're making a Helldivers movie,
are
and
they?
like, yeah, and I could see them making an Arc Raiders movie. You could like the world is interesting enough that you could turn that into a story.
Create a character
Yeah,
within that
create
world.
characters around it. So overall, it was a great Game Awards.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
we need to
and
wrap this sucker up.
yeah, going long, a little long in the tooth, but yeah, it was a good Game Awards. Expedition 33 swept like we expected. Um, as we were going to riot otherwise. So, um,
I expected it. I predicted it. I think everybody predicted it.
yeah. So we got some good games coming up. Now we'll see how many of them. Some of them are ways off. You know, it can be old and gray by the time you play it. But um, I think there's some promising things coming down the pike. And in kind of closing statement, it will be very interesting to see in the next year, because these games kind of have like larger timelines, but maybe in the next 2 years, how the gaming industry responds to the success of Expedition 33.
Yeah.
Maybe if they try to reward people who have creative stories, try to reward smaller teams. I think Expedition is a godsend for the gaming community. And I think it's reflected in that it's winning stuff on the corporate level. It's winning stuff on the people's choice level.
It's just winning.
It's just winning. Keep winning, Sandfall. So.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. See you guys next week. Peace.
Bye.